Adiós. Que no pasa nada. So if you so this session was supposed to be a period for revision, and so it's just going over some tips to help you if you're doing GCSE Spanish at the moment. This is not the ideal time to be doing this, I am aware, but I'm going to give you a couple of minutes and we're going to go over some revision tips. Okay? Muy bien. I'm just going to start with some basic ideas anyways. As usual, I recommend that you go over past papers. You're listening. So listening not just to past papers, but hello, Emilia. ¿Cómo estás? Okay. But also listening to music, listening to the news, anything where you can actually hear Spanish being spoken, do that. I know that all you young people nowadays, you like YouTube. Why not look for a YouTube channel where you're listening to different accents? There are lots of YouTubers from Colombia, from Mexico, from all over Latin America. Get used to listening to different accents, not just the news. You want to hear informal language as well as formal language. Muy bien. ¿Tienes exámenes ahora, Emilia? ¿Tienes exámenes? Okay. Sé que esta semana todo el mundo tiene exámenes. ¿Okay? Así que, como tengo este ratito, digo, voy a hacer un live para ayudar a los que están haciendo GCSE Spanish. Okay? So, again, listening. Not just listening, but you're speaking as well. So try and find every opportunity you can to practice your Spanish. If you cannot find someone in your class who is willing to practice with you, use the TAs that they have at your school. Okay? Most schools will have a TA, a Spanish TA. You will have Spanish support in the language department. Use that person to practice with. Okay? Most of the times they don't mind. They won't mind you saying, can I use this session just to practice my GCSE Spanish questions? I promise you, they won't mind doing that. Okay? Perhaps your teacher has a lot on and he or she might not have the time to go over questions with you. But normally the Spanish TA, the Spanish support has more time. And I'm going to tell you a secret. You have resources, okay? They can probably get more hours to spend with you to go over your speaking. So wherever you can, if ever you see a window where you can actually practice your Spanish, do that. Okay, so, and if you can't, as I've said before, speak to yourself. Okay? Imagine you're doing the topic of environment. What possible questions can you get about environment in Spanish? Think about relevant questions in English. Translate those questions and come up with answers for yourself. Okay? Translate them into Spanish. Okay? Have a dialogue with yourself. You're running the risk of sounding like a crazy person, but it's okay. No one's going to hear you. Okay? So you're speaking either to a classmate, to your teacher, To the Spanish support in your department, in the MFL department, most MFL departments, as I said before, do have Spanish support. So your Spanish support teacher or personnel, okay, make the most of that person, okay? Speak to yourself. You're with yourself 24 hours a day. Have made up dialogue with yourself. Make up the situations. Imagine you going into a store, you're going into a shop and you want to order something. Have that conversation in your head. What question would you ask someone or would someone ask you? Emilia says, sí, se acercan mis exámenes. Mucha suerte. Good luck. I'm sure you're going to do fantastically well. I am sure. When you study, you know what happens. The results are there. I think our biggest downfall is our nerves. We get so nervous that we don't do as well as we could have done because we panic. Okay? So if we can try and control the nerves, everything will be a-okay. Okay, topic by topic. At this rate, you probably won't have time to go over all of your topics. But for instance, let's choose, I don't know, the easiest one, where you live. Okay, donde vivo. So you go topic by topic. So you choose topic by topic. Just the way I do the videos generally, I do sections. So I've chosen donde vivo. Donde vivo. Okay, under this, you probably like to write down your sustantivos, which are your nouns. Sustantivos, your nouns. And then you might think, what places are there where you live? What sort of areas are there where you live? What sorts of houses are there where you live? You go through them, okay? Piso, casa, casa adosada, where? Pueblo, ciudad grande, and so on. En las afueras, and so on, okay? So you think of all the nouns you can. So places, types of houses, vivo en un piso, en la primera planta, la segunda planta, la tercera planta, la cuarta planta, or you might have seen the other word for floor, piso. So piso or planta, okay? Piso is for flat, but it also refers to the floor. So piso or planta. But you wouldn't say planta if you want to say I live in a flat. You wouldn't say vivo en una planta. You wouldn't say that. You would say vivo en un piso. So the type of house you live in. Una casa or una casa adosada, a semi-detached house, a detached house, rather, things like that, okay? What is there where you live? What is there for young people? That those things will go under your nouns, okay? Then you want to start thinking about your verbs that are related to donde vivo, okay? So you want to think about your verbs, los verbos, okay? What kind of verbs will you need to know? Things like vivir, to live, what else? You can give me ideas. When we're doing this section of donde vivo, what verbs are relevant? Think about it. Alquilar, which is to rent. Alquilar, maybe your family rents a house. Maybe you've bought a house. Comprar. Okay? What other verbs are there that are related to the topic or the theme, topic rather, of donde vivo? Okay? Vecinos. So when we're thinking, we're going back to nouns and we're thinking about where you live, it's not just physical things, it's people as well. Remember, your nouns are names of places, people, and things, animals. Okay? So, verbs. ¿Dónde vivo? Por favor, lo podéis poner ahí en el chat si os viene a la cabeza algo. Okay? ¿Dónde vivo? ¿Qué verbos tenéis que saber? You guys, you're the ones with the exams coming up, okay? So think, what verbs do we have that are related to donde vivo? Okay? Help me here. Soler, okay, which is one of your key verbs, which may refer to what you normally do. Okay? Visitar is a verb that comes up in this section, which is visit, visitar. What else? Simple ones like ir, to go. Make sure you're not just writing down the verbs as well, but you are thinking about conjugation. Do you know how to say, I will go? Do you know how to say, I went? I usually go. Test yourselves. Okay, this is very, very important. I am wheezing. This hay fever is killing me. No sé si estoy sola con eso, pero me está costando bastante. Okay. So, what are the verbs related to where you live? ¿Dónde vivo? Hay. Ah, muy bien. ¿Qué has puesto? Conocer, muy bien. Vender, excelente. Vender, muy bien, sí. Vender, which is to sell, fabuloso. ¿Qué más tienes? Conocer, fantastic. Conocer, good. That is it. I love that one. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Conocer, to meet. Conozco mucha gente donde vivo. I know many people where I live. That's a key verb. Okay. Vamos a vender nuestra casa. To sell, vender, fantastic. What other verbs can you think about? Can you think of? Can you think of any other verbs to do with the topic of donde vivo? Donde vivo. Conocer, vender, alquilar, soler, visitar. Dormir, for example, to sleep. The basic ones, ser, estar. You cannot walk into an exam without the basic verbs. Your basic verbs are ser, estar, haber. We're not getting anywhere without those. Okay? So ser, to be, estar, to be again, but the non-permanent, the state. We need these. Haber. A lot of us, we use the verb haber, but we don't know it's haber. Every time you say what's in your city, hay muchas tiendas, hay muchas casas. That I comes from the verb haber. Okay? So the verb haber is one of your key verbs. In absolutely all the topics you will see, haber is one of those verbs that is key, and you need to know how to conjugate it, not just in the indicative, but also in the subjunctive. Okay? Why? Because it's an auxiliary verb. You need it when you're talking in the present perfect. For example, if you want to say what you have done, it's the same verb that you conjugate. So I have done something. He hablado. Has cantado. Ha ido. All of this comes from the verb haber. Okay? Just as this verb is an auxiliary verb, and it is important that we know it. Muchas gracias. Disfrutar. Fantastic. I like that one. Yes. Disfrutas. ¿Qué harías sin ti? Okay? Disfrutar. Disfrutar. To enjoy. Disfrutar. Disfruto de todas las actividades que hay en mi barrio. Okay? I enjoy all the activities that are available in my neighborhood. That's a good word for you as well for your nouns. Barrio, your neighborhood. And I'm going to tell you this. This is a very typical question that you see at GCSE. ¿Qué hay de interés para los jóvenes donde vives? Or de interés. What is there of interest for young people where you live? Now, if you get this question, you might choose to be truthful, or you can make it up a little bit. Okay? What things can you say? Please help me in the text. Help me in the description, in the chat, if you know how you could answer this question. If in an exam they ask you, te hacen la pregunta, ¿qué hay para los jóvenes en tu pueblo? O ¿dónde vives? ¿Qué hay para los jóvenes? What is there for young people to do where you live? How can you answer that question, please? How would you answer that question? What is there of interest for young people where you live? A typical answer that I've seen 100 times. En mi pueblo no hay nada para los jóvenes. No hay nada en mi pueblo. Okay? Mi ciudad es muy aburrida. Okay? Or, golden stars, I do like this. Okay? Puedes visitar el cine o el parque con tus amigos. Me gusta. Sí, sí, sí. Muy bien. Puedes visitar, good, muy bien. Parques. Puedes visitar los parques. Okay, good. Hay muchos bares. See? Muchos bares, but I'm not sure whether or not you can go to bars if you're doing GCSE. If you're doing GCSE Spanish, perhaps you're a little bit too young to go to bars. But maybe youth clubs. Okay, hay sitios para ¿Dónde pueden ir los jóvenes? A jugar a los bolos, bowling. ¿Qué más? Puedes ir a los parques, como has dicho. A los parques, muy bien. ¿Qué habíamos dicho aquí? Al cine, visitar, ir al cine. Remember, go to the cinema. El cine. Okay, ¿qué más? What else do young people do? What else? Full sentences. Para los jóvenes, no hay muchas cosas interesantes. Or a sentence such as this. No sé qué hace otros jóvenes. So I don't know what other young people do, but mis amigos y yo, my friends and I, solemos ver la tele en casa. So my friends and I normally watch TV at home. Vemos Netflix. Okay? What else is there to do? Esa es una pregunta para vosotros. Okay? Another question you might get asked is this. For you, if someone was to visit your city, where would you take them? Si alguien viene a visitar tu ciudad, ¿dónde les llevas? Okay? Where's the most interesting place to go in your city? Thinking about that, in Wiltshire, yo soy de Wiltshire, ¿vale? Y en Wiltshire hay muchísimas cosas para visitar. Puedes visitar Stonehenge. ¿Sabes dónde está Stonehenge? Que son unas rocas enormes. La gente puede visitar a Stonehenge para ver ese monumento tan famoso, tan antiguo. ¿Qué más? En Wiltshire, ¿qué más tenemos? Es muy verde. Entonces, tenemos muchos espacios verdes. So that's a good one. Espacios verdes. No hace más que llover. All it does is raining at home. So, espacios verdes. Okay? Now, I'd like for us to move on a little bit. Ah, that's a good one. Thank you. Al centro. Podemos ir al centro. Sí. Sí, el centro ofrece una variedad de cosas para los jóvenes. Okay, so in the city there are a variety of things to do. Muchas gracias. Ir a las montañas, fenomenal. Las montañas. Perfecto. Podemos ir a las montañas. Ah, muy bien. Tiendas de compras, to go shopping, fenomenal. Muy bien. Las lagunas. Si te gusta el agua, las lagunas, pues ahí tenéis opciones. Okay? The lakes. Another word for lake, lagos. Perhaps you've seen that rather than lagoon. Okay? Fenomenal. Vale. Me gusta mucho tener una sección para los adjetivos. Okay? So when we're thinking about our adjectives and we're thinking about dónde vivo, ¿cómo vas a describir dónde vives? ¿Cómo es? So descriptive words. So your adjetivos. ¿Cómo es dónde vives? ¿Cómo es? Es una ciudad histórica, tiene mucha historia. Es un sitio moderno. Give me some. Por favor, adjetivos. Dadme unos adjetivos para esta sección. Vale, tenemos moderno o moderna. Remember, when you're doing GCSE, they expect you to know how to change around the genders, okay? So if you're talking about your house and you say es moderno, you're going to lose points because you have to remember that es una casa moderna. Okay, but if you're talking about your Pueblo, Pueblo is masculine, so then you would say el pueblo es moderno. Now, if you're talking about things that are plural, for example, los parques, then you would put los parques son modernos. So don't forget to change your adjective, make them plural or singular. Okay? Golden Star says, esto me gusta. Sí, bonita, hermosa, lo mismo. Bonito o bonita o hermoso, hermosa. ¿Ok? Mi casa es bonita. Mi pueblo es hermoso. ¿Ok? Fenomenal, muchas gracias. ¿Es atroz? ¿Mi ciudad es atroz? Dime más. Mi ciudad es diversa. Y con la diversidad, ¿qué ofrece? Es diversa. Diverso o diversa. Fenomenal. Esto me gusta. Vivo en una ciudad muy conocida. Okay, so I live in a very well-known city. Conocido, conocida, famous. I like that one. Conocido, conocido o conocida. Okay. En Wiltshire, mi ciudad, hay muchos pueblos muy conocidos por Harry Potter. They recorded a lot of Harry Potter in Wiltshire. So if anyone else on here is from Wiltshire, perhaps you know where I'm talking about. Okay? Hay ciudades muy conocidas. Perfecto. We have a good little list there. Anything else? ¿Qué más para describir dónde vivo? When you think about noise level, when you think about quality of life, ¿qué adjetivos podemos usar para hablar de dónde vivo? ¿Es un sitio cómo es? Is it comfortable? Is it justo lo que estaba pensando. Ruidoso, ruidosa. Maybe it's a noisy place or noisy area. Mi barrio, which is your neighborhood, we've seen this, we've seen barrio here. Mi barrio es, what's the opposite of ruidoso? Ruidoso or ruidosa? Maybe it's the opposite. What would be the opposite of ruidoso? I'm going to recommend that when you are doing your verbs and your adjectives, you think opposite. So, if you think of moderno, what's the opposite of moderno? Antiguo. Okay? O antigua. Bonito. What would you think of bonito? If it's not bonito, what's the opposite of bonito? It would be feo. Feo, fea. Okay? I recommend you do that. Okay? Medusan Mercy dice, mi ciudad es inolvidable. Olvidable. It's forgettable. I thought inolvidable, which is the opposite. Unforgettable. Olvidable. Okay. Porque a lo mejor no ofrece mucho. Olvidable. The past, I'm obsessed with the past. The opposite would be inolvidable. Gracias. Muchas gracias, Golden Stars, que ponen lo contrario de ruidoso es tranquilo. Tranquilo, tranquila. Okay? Mi barrio es muy tranquilo. Mostly because mostly older people live here, so it's quite nice. No hay tanto ruido. We don't need that. We don't need the mess of noise. Okay? So, moderno, antiguo. Bonito, the opposite would be feo. Diverso, what's the opposite of diverso? Maybe you could explain it. And this is a good tactic as well. If you cannot think of a word, describe it. So imagine we can't think of a word for diverso. You could say, mi ciudad no tiene mucha diversidad. You're expressing the same thing. Okay, and this is key when you go into your exam, especially when you're speaking. If you forget a word, learn to describe what you want to say. It's all about communication. Okay? And sometimes it's not that you don't know, but you just forget. It's easily done. It's easily done. Okay. ¿Qué más? The same you could do with conocido. It's a famous town. What's the opposite of famous? Does anybody know the opposite of conocido? Es un sitio muy conocido. What's the opposite of conocido? I'll tell you in English. Unknown. It's an unknown place. How would you put it? Unknown in Spanish. Unknown. Remember what I said about describing things? When you don't know how to say something, describe it. Okay? Es un sitio desconocido. Okay? Desconocido is unknown. Okay? Desconocido. Okay? And as we said, olvidable would be inolvidable. Right. Anything else? So make sure that you're covering your adjectives, you're covering your nouns, you're covering your verbs. Also, try and walk in with some generic sentences. Okay? Fenomenal. Gracias. Sí, desconocido. Gracias. Some generic sentences. What can one say about where they live? Okay? Maybe you want to say, I'm going to clean this off a little bit. I hope if you need to make notes, you've done so already. I'm always misplacing the eraser. I don't know what I've done with it. So I'm going to have to use papel. Se improvisa. Hay que improvisar. Vamos a usar papel porque no sé dónde está el borrador. Okay? So, you're speaking, you're listening, your vocab. We're going to get these off. We're going to get some generic sentences about where you live. We're going to get some very generic sentences to talk about what you live, where you live. Okay? Walk into that exam confidently. Okay? With confidence. What can we say? Give me a sentence, please. Dame una frase para hablar de dónde vive uno. Tell me something that's very generic about where you live. A sentence that might be helpful in an exam. A ver. A escribir, por favor, chicos. What can you say about where you live? Okay. Voy a tener que empezar yo. Okay. Lo más bonito de mi pueblo The most interesting, the most beautiful thing about my town or my village es la gente. Okay? So the most beautiful thing about where I live is the people. The people, the gente, I was going to say, you know. I like that. La gente es muy amable. Okay, so the people are very nice. And I do like this one. Thank you, Medusan Mercy. Mi ciudad tiene muchas tiendas de pescado y patatas fritas. We have to have good chippy, right? Right. Me gusta eso. In GCSE, you should always try to elaborate. So imagine you've said that, and this is a good sentence. But to impress in your examination, if you were to add to that, esto es importante porque a mí me encanta el pescado con patatas. Killer sentence. There you go. Okay. The next one we have is this. Vivo en una casa moderna, aunque mi barrio es demasiado ruidoso, pero mis vecinos son muy simpáticos. Perfecto. This is a perfect sentence. Perfecto, fenomenal. Eso me encanta. This I love from Mohammed. Tienes que visitar. You must visit. You must visit such and such place. Okay? Tienes que visitar nuestro museo. Tienes que visitar este club de tenis, or I don't know. But that's a great start. And then you can then go on to suggest where we ought to visit. I love that. Thank you, Mohammed. That's a brilliant one. I absolutely love that one. The next one we have is this. Mi ciudad tiene muchos museos históricos. Fenomenal. Fenomenal. Muy bien. Okay. What about tourists? Do we have a lot of tourists in your city? What else can we say? Okay. Think about all these things. Okay. Me estás dando mucha risa, ¿eh? Hay demasiadas personas mayores que te dan dinero. So there are too many old people who give you money. Where do you live? ¿Dónde vives? Dime. No one gives you money where I live. Or do you mean asking for money? I absolutely love it. Hay demasiadas personas mayores que te dan dinero o que te piden dinero. Clarify this for me, please, because it just seems like a dream town if they give you money. Okay, next one. Medellin. Okay, for GCSE, I'm not quite sure that one. Okay, so fenomenal. Okay, ¿qué más? Encanto. Maybe there's just something about your town. Okay, mi ciudad tiene mucho encanto. It has a lot of charm. Maybe you can't quite put your finger on it, but there's just something about your town. It has charm. It has personality. It has that vibe. Okay? What is it about your city? Okay, what is it? Okay? Tiene encanto. Tiene encanto. It has charm. Okay? Maybe your town does have something beautiful and charming about it. Okay? Why do people keep coming back? My town is a very small town. Mi ciudad es muy pequeña, ¿vale? Y no tiene muchas cosas interesantes, pero es una ciudad de mercados. O sea, es famoso por los mercados. Y en Navidad viene el mercado alemán y el mercado francés, en donde tiene un montón de ambiente. It has vibe, you know, it's really good for around Christmas time to go and visit. Hello, hola, ¿cómo estás? Listening and reading exam. Ooh. Okay, with the listening, the only thing I can say for the listening is, as I said initially when I started the live, is that you need to make sure that you're listening to the language every single day. Even if it's just 15 to 20 minutes, you need to make it a habit. Listen to things, because it doesn't matter how good you feel as though your Spanish is, there's always something more to learn. And we're at GCSE, it's just still a funny stage where you don't know everything, and when you listen to the listenings, you literally feel as though you're only catching words sometimes. So the more you listen to it, the better you will become. Okay, and with the reading, it's practice. It is practice. Go on to the AQA, or I don't know which exam board you're with, your school's with. Do as many reading practice as you can, and get articles in Spanish and practice those. Okay. Golden Stars dice: en mi ciudad hay muchas tiendas de ropa, pero no hay actividades para los jóvenes. Me encanta. Eso es una frase muy buena para todos. Okay? There are lots of clothes shops, but there isn't a lot of activities. There aren't very many activities for young people. Okay? Muy bien. Mi pueblo tiene muchas palmeras altas. ¿Dónde está tu pueblo? Yo voy. Okay? So my village has a lot of really tall palm trees. These things that you can say in your exam. It's just brilliant. Okay? Use these. Me estás dando mucha gracia. Las calles están llenas de arañas gigantescas que me dan miedo. Y a mí también. A mí también me da mucho miedo. For anyone who's here who's year 7 or just a little bit older, so the streets are filled with spiders, massive spiders, which scare me. Scares everyone. I think that would scare everyone, you know. But guys, I'm coming to an end because I have a lesson in 8 minutes. So I'm going to have to speed this up a little bit. So as long as you know these, you have this structure basically for all of your subjects, all of your topics. Go over your adjectives, go over your verbs, go over your some standard sentences that you can use if you get stuck. Expressions as well. Try and go over expressions. Time expressions such as normally, sometimes, twice a week, weekly, monthly, last year, next year. Time expressions you ought to know. You need to be comfortable using time expressions, so don't underestimate those. Pues en mi ciudad los jóvenes pueden ser perjudiciales y por eso los vía. ¿Nos falta algo ahí? ¿Puede ser? Gracias a ti. Viejos piensan que son molestos. Viejos piensan que son molestos. Oh, piensas que son molestos los viejos, los mayores. Creo que entiendo lo que querías decir, lo de antes. So, again, before I sign off, Do this for each of your topic. Go over family. Make sure you know all the vocabulary related to family, expressions related to that. Do it with all of your topics. Get yourself a study partner who is going to test you. Hay un perro ladrando. Okay? Test each other and just try and go in your exam with a positive mindset. And I'll be thinking about you. Do let me know how you get on, and just good luck. Do your best. That's all you can do. You can do your best and nothing else. Okay, so positive mindset. You love Spanish, you love languages, and that's why you're here today. So go in with that idea that you've studied and you're prepared, and you're still going to keep revising until your exam. And with that, guys, I am going to leave you because my students are arriving and I don't want them coming out on video. So you can hear the little voices. Estos sí son muy ruidosos. Okay, and so with that, guys, I am going to leave you. And until next time, ha sido todo un placer. Un besazo a todos. Y hasta pronto. Mucha suerte con los exámenes. Lo vais a hacer genial. Okay? Thank you. Adiós, Golden Stars. Hasta la próxima. Okay? I will try to schedule these so more people can join in and make this more of an organized event. Okay? But for now, that is it. Cuidaros mucho. Adiós. Adiós. Emmy, adiós. Adiós.